Hello, and I have a story to tell that starts in February of 2012. Um, it's something that I kind of did out of the blue. I was watching CBS Sunday Morning in that February of 2012, and there was a segment on there on a new airplane that came out. It was called the Icon A5. And it was a new class of airplane that was amphibious, um, that also was a new classification in light sport, which I hadn't heard of at the time, but it kind of intrigued me because there was a way to shortcut flying lessons and to uh, get this airplane a new light sport class and be able to fly without having the expense of full pilot training. So it was kind of intriguing, and I got a little carried away that morning. I had a Bloody Mary and enjoying my Bloody Mary, watching this segment, and then having a second Bloody Mary and enjoying it even more. At the end of that, I sat there and thought about it for a little bit, and I decided to pull out my wallet and pull out my credit card, and I got online and put a deposit of $5,000 down on that Icon A5 that they had on the show. It was pretty exciting, and I was really excited about the idea of flying. I've always thought about it, and I thought, if I don't do this, it's not going to happen. So anyway, the next part of that story is I had to, at some point, tell my wife what I'd done. And about 3 or 4 days later, I got notified there was a FedEx package coming to my doorstep, and it was from Icon. And I knew that was a gift box coming with a cap and a mug and a certificate. And I decided I better fess up to my wife before she found out about it. So anyway, what I did, we worked together, and I told her when we got home that night that we needed to sit down and talk. And sitting down and talking in a marriage sometimes, has other connotations. And we got home and sat down. I told her what I'd done, that I ordered this airplane, and she was relieved because she thought that the worst. And that wasn't what it was about. So it was actually turned out to be a relief for her, and it was a relief for me to tell her what I'd done. So that was kind of when this all started, 2012. And I decided that I was going to just wait for that airplane to be built. When I got my certificate, I was build number 745. Well, as it turned out, after about 6 years of waiting for that to happen, it became real clear it was never going to happen. They were way behind on production. They weren't going to be able to catch up to production. They were having financial problems. They were having logistics problems. They were having all kinds of problems with that airplane. So I decided to, and meanwhile, I'd taken a trip down to the Icon factory in November of about 4 or 5 years after I placed the order. I went to the factory and was introduced to people, got to sit in the airplane, pretty excited about it. But coming back after that trip down there, I realized that it just wasn't going to happen, at least not in my lifetime. So years were getting shorter for me, and I knew that I had to take a different course of action if I was going to learn to fly. So what ended up happening was I decided that if I was going to do this, I really wanted to learn to fly not just light sport, but I wanted a full private pilot's license. And I decided to go take a flying introductory flight at an airport that was about an hour from my home. And went down there and got into a Cessna 172 that the instructor had. And after flying for an hour, I was convinced that this is something I had to do before it was too late. So I committed to it, and I started taking lessons. And it was a long, long adventure, much longer than I thought and much harder than I thought. I didn't realize how much was involved with becoming a private pilot. It wasn't easy. There was a lot of studying, a lot of work. I spent a lot of time on a flight simulator, practicing after each of my lessons, and doing all of that homework and the mental math and going up and being under pressure and being scrutinized by my instructor sitting next to me hour after hour. It was taxing. But as it turned out, it took me a little over a year to get my license after I took my first lesson. I had to get a medical waiver that sent me back about 4 months because of an eye problem I had in one of my eyes. I just had to go actually fly over to with my instructor and go up for a flight with an examiner and make sure that I wasn't, it wasn't going to interfere with my capabilities as a pilot. So anyway, I went through all of that, and about a year after I was 69 years old when I started my lessons, late 60s, 69, and it was when I turned 70 was when I actually got my certificate, my private pilot certificate. And it was a really exciting time. I just, I couldn't have been more excited. In the process of my training to be a pilot, I decided I was really going to commit, and I bought an airplane. I had been looking at everything that was available, kind of what I wanted, and one of the things that was most important to me was getting something that was high tech. That I've been in the tech business for 45 years. I love tech, and that's what really lights my fire is the technology. The avionics now are unbelievable in the newer airplanes. And this was a 2016 airplane, and it only had about 50 hours on it when I purchased it. But it had the latest, really great high-tech equipment on it. It was loaded with everything. And that's what I wanted. So it was really exciting to do that, and I'm very happy that I took the leap. And I've got some great stories to tell about things that happened along the way and after I got my license. But what ended up happening with the airplane, I had a hangar for it, and I used it in the summertime when I was home. We ended up buying another home down in California from my home. Our main residence is up in Washington. And I couldn't use the airplane during the winter months because I was down in California. So the plane sat a lot, and it's an expensive hobby. When you look at all the maintenance involved and you look at the cost of ownership of an airplane, it's a very expensive thing to do. And I went up and I took all my families, most of my family went up flying with me. I took my grandkids up. And I've got a lot of videos up on YouTube of some of those flights, which are great memories for me. But it was really a good feeling of accomplishment for me to do something like that. I tend to jump in deep into things that I get involved with, and I didn't hold back when I was training to be a pilot. I spent a lot of time making sure that I felt comfortable. I only flew in good weather conditions. I did not want to have any passenger with me be concerned with dealing with weather and other issues that wouldn't make them comfortable. And if they're not comfortable, then I'm not comfortable. So I was pretty careful about when I flew. I had some really fun trips. I one day took my airplane, went to Flathead Lake in Montana, and flew back the same day. Just did an afternoon flight over from eastern Washington over to Montana and back. I did a lot of touch and goes at different airports along the way. I think I landed about 4 or 5 times along the way and back. Refueled up over in Montana. But it was really a fun experience. I've flown the airplane to the San Juans over the Cascade Mountains, which was exciting and fun. I've done that. We flew the airplane to Sun Valley one year for my nephew's wedding. My wife and I went, and I've got some stories I won't go into on this because it'd take a while. But all of these adventures have been challenging, and that's what I like, is the challenge. It is fun to take on things that are a little bit out of your comfort zone and that challenge you, and that's something that kind of gave me the idea for life after 70, because I've really enjoyed my life after 70. I've been able to do the things that I wasn't able to do before that because of work and everything else that gets in the way of life. But I can't encourage people enough to not leave a bucket list of things when it's too late. I don't want to go to the end and say I wish I'd done this or I wish I'd done that. I just believe that while you still can, you get out and you do the things that you wanted to do and enjoy life. Anyway, that is what my story about becoming a pilot. It was a process. It's hard work. And it's important that when you're flying an airplane that you don't cut corners. You are careful from your flight plan till you're back down on the ground, that you are thinking ahead of everything. And I think it actually gave me a few more years of life where I feel like it challenged me, my brain, and I think that it helps by doing some of these things. I just think it helps you deal with the unfortunate things that happen as you age. But anyway, I hope you find this a little bit interesting. I wanted to share it. I'm proud of it, obviously. And if you have comments about it, or you've had piloting experience, I'd love you to share that in the comments below. And I hope you'll subscribe to my channel, because I'm not done with adventures. I still have a lot more that I want to do, but I hope you'll join me. Thanks for watching this.